Today on NNM Podcast, we have E. Roger Mitchell.
Hey, y'all. What's happening?
Glad to have you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, man. Seriously. Thank you.
Absolutely. I've been following your work, and when you look through your IMDb, it's wild because it's all over the place. There's not like a genre that you fit into. You kind of do it all, and I love that. The first thing I want to ask, how did you get into the business?
Oh, well, the business, how did I get into the business? The business started with craft before the business. So I
Okay.
fell in love with the craft of acting. Um, and then later on, of course, you're fortunate business comes along. So it's definitely two different things for sure. I mean, there's the love for the art, the craft, the business is something completely different. Actually, it can be toxic, the business, because it can deplete or at times challenge the craft and the art. And so it's a very interesting marriage that they have. So, but that started for me back in craft, late 80s, 88, 89. I think I joined the speech and debate team. I've probably told this story so many times, but it's the truth. I joined the speech and debate team my senior year of high school, but I've been doing like school plays and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Just something that if you want to participate, you can participate, and I always did. And then after a while, I was like, well, they wanted you to participate. How about that? So yeah, you got a little bit of a bug. So I got stung like in early elementary school, turned into a teenager and started thinking about other things. But then I got into my senior year and I had an elective that I could take. And I said, I'll join the speech and debate team because I really did enjoy doing those plays. I really did it was like really fun. So I had some years off, as I relocated in life. And then I joined speech and debate, man, and that was that. Got a chance to tap into something that I felt a long, long, long time ago, and it felt great. I didn't know really how to define it or explain it, but I just know there was a feeling, and it's electric. It really is. It was for me, and it still is at times. There are times when you're in a space, you just feel like completely and totally open, vulnerable, and head first into whatever the literature is, whatever the project is, story, and that's a magical feeling. So I kind of rekindled that in my senior year and was really loving it a lot. So much so, I got a scholarship to go to school, studied undergrad, did internships, professional stuff. Went and got my grad degree at Brooklyn College, Brooklyn, CUNY Brooklyn. They had a really sweet 2-year MFA for a guy that already had been out of school a little while. I did my undergrad, and then I took a few years to do an internship, which was really great here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I am now.
Mhm.
The Alliance Theater, go Alliance. And then from there, I said, but I gotta get my MFA. Something. I guess I'm from the old school. Go to school
Yep.
to learn, study. It's different. These days. But so I had to do that, and I wanted to go to New York. Got to go to New York. It's like rite of passage. You got to go to New York, man.
Yep.
I got to go to LA. You got to go to New York. So you got to do those kinds of things. And at the time, that's what seemed like the things you had to learn. Study that way. Like, so, okay, I know what I'm doing. Kinda.
Yeah.
Because you learned a lot. You learn a lot. They always say, well, study, 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 and then just throw it out the window. That's what they usually say. And then you just do it by reflex, hopefully, if you're good enough. So, but that's how it started in a long form. The business came after,
Sure.
the studying. I think my first Screen Actors Guild professional job was in '96. So, hey, I'm celebrating. Yeah, here we go. Do the
30
math.
years.
30 years.
Wow.
I just be 30 years, yeah, coming up this summer. It's just pretty interesting thinking about that. How I spent my summer vacation, and from there, you continue to try to work. From the stage. Of course, I've done just about as many what you see on my resume as a screen or television actor or whatever. It's like I've done 75% of it on stage also. So it's like a whole other flip side of the coin
Yeah.
of working that people don't see everywhere. I mean, I didn't make it to Broadway, but I've done off Broadway. There
Sure.
you go. That's kind of sum it up. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
great. I appreciate that because I ask that to every person I talk to, sort of open ended. How did you get into it? And very few of them look at it from your point of view. That's a craft, that you're an artist, that you take your profession very seriously, and I appreciate that. And I'll tell you, anybody that's seen any of your work sees it, right? They see it come through.
Your mouth to God's ears. Every now and again, we hit the mark or we get close. As they say in the industry, from an actor standpoint, they'll say you never really arrive,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
keeps you going. It keeps you going. You say, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more you can squeeze out of there, and every now and again, you get there,
yeah.
but it's it's brief. You got to get back at it, and that's the thing.
Growing up, what was your kind of pop culture outlet?
There were movie opportunities, the drive-in, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You had the walk-in deals. So I always did. I will say it was always really special. I would imagine maybe the same for most kids, trip to the movies, get your popcorn, and always something really special about that, which I still am a staunch supporter of our theater, our cinema world, our the experience is unique in itself. You can try it at home all you want, but nothing beats it getting there
Couldn't agree
and all
more.
that collective that's there. It's not just you, it's you and others experiencing something together. So it's a whole big, beautiful thing. So go cinema. Not
Absolutely.
I love it because if I couldn't do this, I still would go watch movies because I love movie making. I love storytelling. I love taking those journeys. You know what I'm saying? So I do remember one of the first films that I remember going to see at the theater. It was an animated film called, of course, the 101 Dalmatians.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that so clearly, seeing that at the theater. I was down in Florida at the time. I was originally from Miami, Florida. I remember going to see that with my neighbor, Nigel, who's my friend to this day, who lives here in Atlanta right now.
Nice.
He's one of the oldest friends I have in the world. We literally grew up together like as kids back in Miami. But I remember going to see 101 Dalmatians, man, and I don't know if I don't know if I was affected like to be like a part of the arts per se. Even though, hey, I was already doing plays at school. See,
Mm-hmm.
I was already performing, but hadn't been thinking about it in that way at all. But it was just something about that experience just so special. Just seeing that screen, the experience, the animation, just all of the process. It was just something that was, I mean, obviously entertaining for a kid. But I don't know. Maybe I was seeing, I don't know, seeing something, But 101 Dalmatians at the theater that time, that was really special. Something about going to see that movie that time. I don't know what effect it had. I mean, obviously you know, the joy of experiencing it. But
Yeah.
um, then as I grew, I ended up getting a job at Blockbuster much, much later, Blockbuster Video. But I had an idea I really wanted to pursue it at that time, and I needed to get a little day job. And I says, well, why not work at a place where I can get movies? Well, I got to get a little job doing something, you know what I mean? Well, why not work where you kind of want to be around?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very deliberate decision to fuel, what I was already culminating inside of me. By that time, I knew, hey, I'm gonna give this a shot. I love it. I'm gonna go study secondary education, undergrad. They're gonna help me with that, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go for it, see what happens. And I just kind of went from there. Yeah.
Once you decide to fully dive in, did you have any other actors or artists that you wanted to kind of model after?
Ironically enough, Spike Lee's when Mo Better Blues came out, and I was like right at 18,
Mm-hmm.
19 or whatever. So I was obviously, got a little peach fuzz, kind of, trying to figure out who the heck I am, basically. And I'm doing the thing. I'm a part of the team. I'm kicking butt. I'm loving, what I'm doing with the craft of school. Senior year is happening, and Mo Better Blues came out, and yeah, I picked up Five for Five. I have that on the shelf right now. It was a book that Spike Lee published with his movies after he did like the first five or six, maybe seven movies, but he did Five for Five. I think it's after his fifth film. He put out this black and white book with just stills, black and white stills, set
Mm-hmm.
photography. And so that time, I would say like Spike, Denzel, of course, Wesley Snipes, you got Giancarlo Esposito, you got God Bless Bill Nunn. And ironically enough, I've had a chance to work with Bills, Denzel a couple of times, Giancarlo, been in his presence, worked on the same project. Haven't worked with Spike yet, but it's pretty. I haven't worked with Wesley, but around that time, you asked me what it was.
Yeah.
And as an African American male, as an African American person, I was like identification, and you
Sure.
got culture, and Spike was doing his thing, and like August Wilson, God bless the late great August Wilson, from the stage. It was during that time when I first heard fences. I heard those words, like, who is this? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Stuff that speaks to you,
Hmm.
culturally, tribal, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting watching all this happen. It was exciting, man. You had the Hoodlum brothers, you had Matty Rich, who did his first film, independent, I offer nothing. Just went out there and shot a film. Guys were getting out there trying to do their thing. And this was before digital, man. They were making movies, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And all that era is really healthy. I mean, of course, you got your Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was doing wonderful things as always. It was just a really big culmination during that time. And as I was like getting more and more excited about actually doing this because I was feeling it, loving it, and seemingly it's I know what I feel and love, and it's contagious apparently. And
Yeah.
that's what that was. And all these really awesome positive things happening around film and television wise, in say particularly in the African American community, and also others, because I love everything. So that was a time that was pretty. The soil was very very fertile.
Hmm.
That definitely played a role in like kind of putting your head down and going for it. Really dreaming, like pure dream. You
Yeah.
know, pure dream, and nothing to back it up except your effort
Hmm.
you're putting forward, and obviously how much you want to put into learning this thing, this craft.
Yeah.
But that would be that era. That was like I would call it about a really because it's like 89, 88, really 88 through like 93, ninety
Hmm.
four undergrad for me. That was all that was happening. It came started before, and then that was a really fertile time. It was like, and then it propelled me to the next step. Like you said, the resume is all over the place. That's great, but there's like 5 times or 10 times more no's than that. You know what I'm saying? All those are the yeses. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's funny
but
you mentioned
yeah,
that because that was going
yeah,
to be one of
man.
my questions. I was going to run through a couple of your film credits, but then I was going to ask you. So let's just fast forward. What are some of the notable
Yeah.
things that you really, really wanted and you auditioned and it just didn't pan out?
When they were doing, there was a show called, the working title was called Rampart.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about Los Angeles, or I'm sure you ventured there, but there's an area of Los Angeles call it Rampart. I think there's a huge Boulevard, Rampart Avenue too. It's huge. It's slightly, it's East Los Angeles, East LA, but it's still slightly just a smidget north. I'm talking about blocks. And there was a working title for that show. FX was doing a pilot on the show, and that show, Rampart, that was a working title, ended up being The Shield, and I got really close to getting it, but that
Mm,
didn't. But it was great, and the director, Clark Johnson, wonderful, super duper, spectacular actor director. You could look him up. Clark Johnson's a legend. He's one of the original cast members of Homicide, and Andre Braugher and those guys. He's an
yeah.
OG directing it, and he still gave me a chance to do a couple episodes, which is great because I worked with him on another project. That one I really, really wanted. And ironically, there was another thing, another movie I wanted to get, a movie I wanted to get, and Clark was directing it. And this is back in, dude. We're talking like right now. We're talking like 2002, something like that.
Okay.
This is 20 years ago now, and he was directing a movie. They were doing a remake of a really popular show, SWAT, and I was up for one of the leads in that. And it got to the point where they were talking about negotiating and money and stuff. I was like, all right, now, well, LL Cool J is a really cool dude.
That's pretty stiff competition.
And he actually really is super cool. LL is, the brother is so cool. We worked together on that during that time, and he was just as cool, calm, kind. So anyway, that was one I really really wanted. That would have changed my life drastically.
Yeah.
But and I was in shape. I was ready, but I didn't have a trainer, but I was good. I was I was doing cinder blocks in the backyard. You know what I'm saying, with the
Heck
tie,
yeah.
with the ropes and stuff. But Clark gave me up, and then I ended up doing a cameo in that too. So I ended up still getting the credit.
There you go. So now I want to talk about some of the credits that you actually did get. Some pretty notable ones, and I picked three. There are tons, but I picked three to just kind of talk about global phenomenon, the Hunger Games, catching fire. That was such a big deal.
Wow. That, oh man, I got chills when you just said that. The story behind that, I didn't really know much about the Hunger Games at all. You know, the books were being done, so it was all
Hmm.
relatively contemporary at the time. And I ended up reading all three of the books while I was doing a play, and I read them on my phone.
Oh wow.
I was doing one show when the auditions came around, and I went into an audition for it. And then I think it was a couple days later, and God bless Jackie Birch, casting director extraordinaire. God bless her. So we lost her recently in the past year. I went in, and Chaff didn't have any lines at all, really. They
Right.
had any lines, and I didn't think much. I was like, but they put a couple lines together for us to do that thing. So I did the lines, whatever. Jackie's like, love it, E, do your thing. I love you. God bless. So turn it in, see what happens. Me and everybody else. And I got a call back, and the director was there. He was there at the at the callbacks, and I would remember telling him when I got in there because I was like, oh shoot, I got a callback. It was like a few days later, right? And I was ready, man. I was sharp. I was ready. It felt good. I was taking care of things. I felt like I was, fit enough and everything like that. And I told him when I got in, I said, I just want to let you know I read all three of the books like that. He said, oh, wow. Okay. I said, did you just read them since you were here the other day? I was like, no, no. I had already read them before the auditions. He basically thought he was joking. He said, did you read them in the last 2 days, buddy? And that's a nice icebreaker for him. I said, no, no, no. I said, no, but I meant to let them know I read the books. I want y'all to know I'm familiar with the project.
Hmm.
The process took a few weeks or whatever. And then they finally called and said they wanted me to come on board and, be, and to be a tribute on top of that. I mean, dude, I remember buying the entertainment magazine when uh, Hunger Games, part one came out. Because you got my girl,
Hmm.
my son there, such a sweet young lady. I had the book, I had the magazine, I was reading the books, I was all in, and then they came to shoot. And I was like, okay, got an audition. Oh my God, got a callback. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
The job, dude. And it was just like, whoa. That was definitely top three in my life. I mean,
Hmm.
there's one of the two things that happened. I just got a chance to work with certain people. That's like in my top three, period. That experience, the community around it, and the way they did their publicity engine motor team. They would announce the tributes like one tribute, because
Yeah.
everybody the following was nuts. And in my opinion, I'm just saying it, I'm just keeping it real. I love all of them, but Hunger Games Catch a Fire, in my opinion, is just the best one out of the whole out of the box.
It's real good.
I'm just
It's
saying,
real good.
just leave it at that. That's my favorite.
Well, and when you look, 30 years from now, people are going to remember the Hunger Games. It was huge, and it's just going to be a part of pop culture history forever. And to be a part of that has to be pretty special.
Bro, that was like I got chills yet again thinking about it. It was just surreal, It really was. But it was really, really super freaking amazing, man, to be a part of that. Jennifer was amazing. Jeffrey Wright, who I worked with before years and years with
Love
Clark,
Jeffrey Wright.
such a just to work with him again. And great, great guy. Everybody, Stanley Tucci, my God, just to stand there and watch him do his work.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was just pretty amazing to witness. He is a master, of course. Woody Harrelson, oh my God, Lenny Kravitz was wonderful, just as kind and Woody is just as cool and crazy and wild and chill. It was a great, great, great experience, man. Hunger Games forever. That's like something that I'll always be like, wow, that really happened. Yeah.
Love it. Next one I want to talk about the Black Phone.
In all honesty, now I have to deal with the timing of when it was happening because we were obviously the world was dealing with a pandemic,
Hmm.
so that we had that as a backdrop, which to me is a character in itself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
Atmosphere, socioeconomics, geographic location, and all of that. That's that actor stuff.
Yeah,
It all plays a part. So you already had this interesting, but we were trying to come out of it, but we were being careful coming out of it. So it was a crazy time. Everybody's testing. The working title was called Static. That's what it was called.
I can
It
see
was,
that.
yeah, it was called Static first, and we auditioned for a detective. It was a nice little scene. You know what I'm saying? Pretty succinct. Um, Read it right here, right behind me, right here in my sunroom. Read
Nice.
it here, and got a call back for it. It's a horror film or whatever, and got the call back. And I'm meeting with Scott Derrickson on the Zoom, just like this,
Hmm.
man. And read through the piece. He said, "No, I really like what you're doing. It's a period piece. You know what I'm saying? So it takes place mid 70s, something like that."
70s, right?
And so he was saying you had that feel of something I experienced, back when, you just had a it fit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You did your thing, and everything else fit. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Next, I'm working on a project for the next month and a half, which is super awesome. We shut down in March
Hmm.
of that year to 2020.
2020. Yep.
Well, wife and I, we're 7 months pregnant. So we have
Oh,
in May. So 2 months later. So that next 60 days of that trying to stay safe. And we have a 4-year-old already, and everybody's trying to stay safe and all that stuff. So, work stopped, things like that. But we got back up and running, but it took a minute because it was just crazy. So that was pretty huge. So got it. Next you know, I'm off to Wilmington, North Carolina, man. And you're shooting this really, piece that's got this backdrop, this horror person. I think it's a more of a thriller, but it is
yeah.
horror.
It's like suspense, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just he's just a master at it, man. Scott Derrickson. But you didn't know what he was doing while he was doing it. We're doing this film and we're being true to what's on the page as best as our ability and listen to our director. And we're doing this thing. And then when I saw it, I told him, I said, it's so practical. It's so lean.
Mhm.
There's no frills with it.
Not a
It's
lot of
just
fluff. It's a great story. It's very direct, and the reason that it works so well is because how lean it is and how, like, when you start thinking about it, those times were very different. This could happen.
right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Those times were different. That's a very good point, which I know. But yeah, it was a more practical time in general. We
Hmm.
didn't have all the things that we have now. And he captured all of that. And then it came out, and we were like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. We knew it'd be good because he's already pretty awesome. Scott, I think he had just did, or he did a couple years before they did Doctor Strange
Hmm.
for Marvel. So, he just said, I'm going to work on this. Because I think he had an opportunity to do the part two, but he chose Black Phone, Static at the
Yeah.
time. So you take that that vision from that and put it in this real 1+1, cart and horse. He
Hmm.
just immersed himself into that and just came out with this really awesome film.
Let's jump right into the last one I want to talk about, and this is Outer Banks. And I'll tell you, from the very first episode, it gets you. Tell me about this.
Oh man, yet again, right here in the sunroom, bro. Sit right. Auditioned for the father, Haywood.
Yeah.
You know, nice little quick little scene. Wasn't a whole lot, like a half name and a half page. Nice little father to son talk real quick on a mini that I
Yep.
know. And I auditioned for it. I think 5 days later, like 4 days later, I was in Charleston, and they were shooting the pilot. And I was like, oh wow, okay, great. I was glad to get a job. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And had no idea. I'm trying to think that they say recurring in the onset. It'd be interesting to go back through my email, which I think I can, to find out the original like audition email,
Hmm.
and I'll find out because they have the breakdowns and they'll say
Sure.
again, co-star, star, whatever, recurring.
Hmm.
Next thing you know, dude, I'm on the dock cussing out these kids. Like, get the, folk, this freaking,
We gotta clean up after this storm.
what I'm saying with it, don't come back, don't come back. You and your dang friends, you know what I'm saying? And you got Chase and JJ and Kiara, and you got, I call them the kids. Just wonderful watching them come together. They did such a great job putting them together. They really, really did. I mean, we see lots of great cast, and that's definitely one of them because I had a chance to obviously meet them as we started working.
Mhm.
Just watching them how they got along, you really thought they knew each other for a very very long time.
There's great chemistry in that group. Great
Yeah,
chemistry, and it comes through. And I think that's what grips you because you feel like this is like just a snapshot of just some friends and some things they stumble upon,
yeah.
and that's great writing and great chemistry make that happen.
It was totally amazing. I said, you know what? This is cool. They got a really good group here. They would finish each other's sentences, and I was like, wow, and I was like, all right. And then here, I come in and do my thing. You had the other dads and others,
Hmm.
surrounding it in for our supporting roles and things like that. And next thing you know, here it is, 5 seasons, man. Again, just seemed like I don't know how it happened. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
you know. And then we were obviously dealing with the pandemic and things too at some point too. We all
Hmm.
were. There was a lot going on with that, so we all were. And then after we were when they were going to come back, but we had done well. The show had done well. I was blown away when season 1 came out, and it was like Netflix was like, we were up there top 10, da da da, doing that thing, rocking it #1, and didn't really pick up on it. I said, no, dude, a lot of people are really watching this show.
Yeah.
I didn't, because you're always hoping for something great to happen, and that's another one. They're all great because every single thing one sees on my resume, I'm honored to have had every single one of them happen. And so everybody's precious to me. However, you have some things that just really kind of
Yeah.
create a little bit more friction in a good way, and it's like wow, and it's like man, people really like this show. And next, we had two, and we had three, and we had four, and like five. It's like wow, but
Uh,
it's a blessing. Outer Banks totally life changing and in a beautiful way. But the story, the show, the family, the cast, the crew has always been like. Of course, I'm recurring. I heard stories. Things get crazy. I'm sure things get crazy at that time. I call them the kids. They were like they'll give me a look sometimes like to say, Erod, you just come in and do your thing. You leave. We're here all the time. So they have a different language that they speak, and they give us a little bit of this and that. But the our cast, our regulars, I call them the kids again. I'm so proud of them. They're really wonderful, wonderful young men and women. Changed my life in many ways, so you can imagine them.
yeah.
So I'm so proud of them and love them dearly. And everybody at OBX, I'm talking about from the front of the bus to the back. Y'all know I love y'all. You know that. And now I'm Hayward for life, which is beautiful.
Yep. There's
Yeah.
one other project that you have upcoming that I wanted to kind of talk about, and I know sometimes with upcoming projects you can't really talk too much about it, but it's called Clean Hands.
Mm.
Tell me about this project.
Oh, you did some research. It's based on a true story, actually, a true story. Takes place up near Baltimore. True story. You have a police officer, narcotics enforcement officer, battling with the thing that we've been battling with in these United States and whatever, and his daughter ends up getting kind of caught up in the rapture of the substance world,
Hmm.
and it's a very interesting journey that he has to take to try to get things right with himself, and battle with the obvious, which is hitting these streets every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a true story. I
Hmm.
actually is to meet the real officer. He came down. We shot down here in Georgia. Um, and about 4 or 5 of the other gentlemen that was a part of his task force at the time when this was happening, they came down and did some background work, and they were officers because they were doing his story, so they actually kind of played themselves almost, which is really really super cool to like meet the real dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? And I played the chief.
Hmm.
Even though we look just alike, he's an older Caucasian gentleman with the big mustache. That's the first thing. Just the laughs. Oh my god! But it was just awesome because of obviously the story, the subject matter. Um, and so Jake directed it. Jake Allen, I met Jake on the Quad, and we did a series together, called the Quad on BET. Did a couple seasons. Jake was our Caucasian quarterback at a HBCU, historically black college and university.
Nice.
Jake Awesome dude. He and his brother, they're producer, writer, producer. He's an actor, and I auditioned for it, man. And you know, I think I did a pretty good job. But at the same time, we also had known each other through the business and worked together before. So um, Jake's great, and they did a phenomenal job. Zach's amazing, man. What a cool, super cool cat, man. Phenomenal talent, wonderful career, of course. And this is a very different look for him. And I got the text from Jake saying that we're going to be in Tribeca. I said that's a pretty good way to come into the world, you know.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm gonna try to make that trip up. But yeah, you found clean hands, man.
Yeah, I
That's
actually I read the story, saw the cast, and I'm looking forward to that. I wish you guys the best of luck with that.
thank you.
And of course, obviously with Outer Banks, continued success into the final season there.
Yeah, we did our five, man. We got our five in. We're gonna burn it all the way to the end. Let's go.
Let's go.
Excited. I'm
Um,
really excited about it, though. Yeah.
you get some upcoming appearances that I wanted to promote here. People can come and meet you. First Smoky Mountain Fan Fest.
I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be super cool. I've never been up there before. I'm gonna try to get the missus and we'll leave the kids or something and let's go to the Smoky Mountains, man. Come on. I think we're gonna go out to New Mexico.
Yep, next month, June 19th through 21st. You're also at Duke
Yeah,
City
exactly.
RetroCon in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So folks can see you there if they're not going to make it out to Tennessee. Also, I'll put your information in here for your booking info if other shows want to have you out. Tell your great stories to other folks.
But you meet so many wonderful people, man. Really, really. I love the conventions. People come because they want to be there,
Yeah.
and that itself is something that's completely just obviously just refreshing. You know, people they come because they want to be there.
Yep.
So that's why all conversations and everything is just really wonderful, positive, and also for me, I get to think about things I ain't think about in a while. You know, it's like wow, yeah, like you got me good with those things. You took me back to 1989, man. I was yeah, back in the day, I'm thinking about Mo Better. Like, yo, yeah.
This podcast originated from the convention scene. That's what happened. I was going to conventions and I was talking to folks about all of the things they've done in their careers, and I wanted to share those stories with other people, and that's why we're here.
Congratulations. I mean it because you was doing the thing. I said, no, we got it. We got it. We got it. Is this the guy? This is the guy.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations to what you're doing. I love to come back anytime you say I'm here, man. I'm here.
Love to hear it, and congratulations on obviously 30 years in the business is crazy, but continued success going forward, and like to see those roles keep trickling in. And appreciate you being on the podcast.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to be here, brother. It's been an adventure. It's been a journey, and very thankful to say hello and get a chance to you know share, some of the stuff, because you do it and it's done, and then you hopefully move on. But it's good to kind of to share. So thanks
Okay.
for letting me. Man, I
I,
appreciate it. All these wonderful people who will get a chance to see it. God bless you all, and wish you all the best. And don't ever stop dreaming, And everything's chicken but the feathers. Remember that.
there you go. E. Roger Mitchell, thank you so much for being my guest. Appreciate your time. So great to talk with you, and I look forward to meeting you in a few weeks.
Thank you, my brother. It's an honor and a privilege. You take care. Be safe.
You
Okay.
as
See
well.
you.
Thank you so much.